All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P. Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis session. Today's title is Bitcoin Key Support and Resistance Levels and New Signals for this week. Okay, because we have some interesting situation. We have an interesting situation going on here, which we'll go over in a minute. If you're new to my stream, welcome. Let me explain to you quickly how this works. So first, we're going to go over the economic calendar, as we usually do, very quickly. Then we're going to go over the Bitcoin situation, right? I'm going to explain my analysis here, which I shared on TradingView yesterday, but we're going to go into some more detail now that we have some more information based on the chart. And then we're going to go into the trade scanner. And I'm going to show you some previous trades, and we're going to talk about how to use the trade scanner effectively, because it's becoming apparent to me that people with no experience don't understand how this thing works, and they don't understand the great value of this tool. So I'm going to explain it to you. All right, so with that, let's get started. Let me pull up my slide here. Let me give you a quick thing. So this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right. I am streaming on Twitter and on Rumble as well. So if you can see me over there in those places and you want to ask a question or something, you're going to have to come over to YouTube. All right. Now, if you also want to share what city or what country you're from, that's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. Okay, so first things first, economic calendar, real quick. I'm not going to share it on the screen. There's really only two things worth mentioning this week. Now, it begins tomorrow, which is the 14th, okay, Tuesday the 14th. We have CPI, okay, which is the Consumer Price Index, month over month. That number typically comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's a very important number. Next to non-farm payrolls and FOMC meetings, CPI is the next one on that list. So please be aware of that. Markets can get very erratic and very slow. Volume can shrink going into such a number because no one wants to take any big positions in case there are any surprises. Okay, so CPI coming out tomorrow. Also tomorrow, there's the PPI, which is the Producer Price Index. Okay, and that one is not as important. All right, I believe that one excludes food and energy or something like that, but that's not as an important number. But it can still move markets if there are any surprises, right? So those are the main ones for tomorrow. If you look at your typical economic calendar, you're going to see a bunch of things, but you only want to focus on the important ones. All right, so we have CPI tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, the 15th, we have another CPI, but it's like the year over year. And then they have like the one that excludes food and energy or whatever. That one is not as important. Also on Wednesday, we have retail sales. So retail sales, I believe that number comes out at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. You want to double check that because sometimes I confuse the numbers or they may have changed the exact time. It could either be 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Again, double check that number. Retail sales is not a huge number, but it can move markets. All right, if there's any surprises. So those are the only main numbers really this week to keep in mind. There are some other things going on, like with the British pound and stuff like that. And I saw something for the Aussie dollar, but those are not global market moving numbers. I wouldn't worry about those. All right, so only those US ones are really on the calendar this week to pay attention to. Okay, so that's the economic calendar. Let me get some hellos from people here who are watching. I see a few people here, but I see a much lower number than usual. I guess people are either losing interest in Bitcoin or they're losing interest in me. I don't know which it is. So I see Armin in the chat. Hey, Armin, good to see you. All right. Anyone else want to say hello? Don't be shy. Anyone new here? Welcome. Say hello. I'd like to see you. All right. So let's get into this Bitcoin situation, shall we? Let me make the chart bigger. And by the way, I want to mention this before I talk about this analysis. Check the links in the description. There's a few things I want you to check out here. Okay. For one, if you want to try the Trade Scanner Pro, hey, Howard, if you want to try the Trade Scanner Pro for free for 14 days, there's a link in the description. I will explain more about Trade Scanner Pro in a moment, but check it out there. Also, if you want to join the Discord community, there's a link there as well. There's a free area there. I'd love to see you there. Say hello. You can ask questions and stuff like that. There's a lot of good information, even that flows through our free community chat channel. Also, if you check out the signal of the week, right? Each week the trade scanner bot sends out a signal. Okay, this week, trade of the week was Ethereum short. It sent out an Ethereum short signal earlier today. Now, that's based on the same formula as the Trade Scanner Pro, except the Trade Scanner bot works on a larger time frame, and it sends you the signal by email. Each week it rotates. So this week was Ethereum. Next week it'll be a stock, and the week after that it'll be a forex pair. So it rotates each week. Okay, so you get one free trade from the bot each week, and if you want to see a record of that, you could just go to our results page. I'll show you where that is in a moment. Okay, so interesting, Alex. I'm not aware of that. You want to share? Tell us a little bit more about that. So yeah, now there's other links as well. If you notice in the description, there's Trade with Bybit, Trade with MEXC, and there's also a TradingView affiliate link. Okay, those are Stian's affiliate links. He's the guy that helped me put the Trade Scanner Pro together. He's the guy that helped me put the Trade Scanner bot together. He's the guy that's responsible for all the technology. So you can help him out immensely by opening an account, putting funds in the account, placing trades. Okay, or if you sign up for TradingView charts, you might as well go through that affiliate link, because the small commission that he gets goes a long way into helping him support the community. Okay, so please consider that. All right, other than that, press the like button, press the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. It helps. All right, anyway, let's get into the trade, the Bitcoin situation that we have this week. Now, people, are you losing interest in Bitcoin? You know, one thing I realize, and it could be just, an anecdotal observation, because I don't really have any statistics to back it up. But I noticed that when Bitcoin sells off, or when Bitcoin just basically does a lot of nothing and the interest drops, right? Those are usually the times when you want to be paying the most attention, right? Like these pullbacks on Bitcoin, people lose interest, okay? But then people are more interested when Bitcoin does this, when it goes to like a resistance, okay? Or if there's an uptick like this over here, people become interested. That's why I see more email signups and things like that. It's like, man, you got it all wrong. If you're one of those people, you got to reverse the psychology there, because by the time you get into this thing, you're getting the worst price. The best prices are usually when it looks the worst. Let me just tell you that. Okay. So Alex says some big institutions shorts have been, okay, just like a few years ago. Oh, okay, again with that. And some platforms block people. Okay, so that's nothing. That's happened before. I noticed that too. When price goes up, there are always, yes, Armin, right. So when price does something spectacular, and there's probably good reason for that, because you have all the fake gurus coming out saying Bitcoin's going to 100K, like Armin said here in his first comment here in the chat. Bitcoin's going to 100K. Everyone gets excited. Meanwhile, you're buying the worst prices. Okay. Do you remember all the hype that was happening here? Okay, that was happening here. All right, that's when the hype is its most intense, and that's what draws people in. Meanwhile, you're getting the worst prices. You should be most interested when it's doing these things, when it's looking ugly. When people lose interest, that's when you should become interested if you want to be effective in this game. All right, anyway, so let's get into this Bitcoin situation. Now, 2 weeks ago, I drew this illustration on my chart, okay? 2 weeks ago, as you can see here, these illustrations that I draw, they're not always accurate. That's the ideal scenario that I would like to see, okay? And now we're 2 weeks into it, and look, I mean, the market is following it like to the T, which does not always happen. But as you can see, the scenario is playing out. And I called it a long. I said it in my article yesterday. I said it's basically a long, in this area right here with about a 1,500 point stop. Now that is my personal risk tolerance. The trade scanner, which you can see on my chart here, I turned it off. The trade scanner risk is here, which is much steeper than 1,500 points. But as you can see, the trade scanner take profit is way up here. This part I hid from the article. Okay, I kept it off like this. No, not that button. That's the wrong button. This button here. I turned it off. Okay, so people can come to the stream and they can see it. But anyway, so as you can see, Bitcoin, the long is in progress right now. And in this situation, okay, we shouldn't be surprised. Now, what made this a high probability long? This. Okay, 60K. I've talked about it. If you look at my articles over the recent weeks on Bitcoin, I've been pointing out 60K over and over and over and over. It's a major level. And we broke 60K over here, right? And that may have thrown some people off. And I said, if we stay below that 60K, that opens up the lower 50s. But what happened here? Inside bar and then straight back up to 64K. So when you have a situation like this, okay, let me just highlight that. When you have a situation like this over here, which is basically, what is this? It's an inverted head and shoulders, right? I don't make a big deal out of the head and shoulders pattern, but there is something important here. When you have a situation like this where it breaks the major support, okay, it broke 60K, but the next couple of candles, in this case, next couple of days, swiftly recovers. This is not a real break. And that is something you must get through your head. Literally, the level broke. But people, what happens is they get stuck in that idea when theoretically, since it recovers so quickly, theoretically, the level is still intact. It's theoretical, right? So it's hard for people, especially beginners, to comprehend that idea because you have to have a very open mind, all right? So seeing that and knowing about 60K, because it's been a relevant level for months, and seeing the swift recovery, I anticipated that if we test it again, all right, it's going to be a high probability reversal point or an inflection point. And that's what we got. We came off of it. What was the low? Saturday's low was 64.74. That's Saturday's low over here, right at this low, the lowest point. So what does that tell you? If you're fooling around below 61K, you're like 60, 60K 850, 60K 550, whatever. That area, this zone in this area, you're anticipating longs. If you're going short and it's something greater than a day trade, you are asking for major trouble because people clearly keep buying in this area, right? There's plenty of evidence of that. So you take a great risk by shorting in that area. But your 1 minute time frame may tell you it's a short. So you have to be able to see what? That's going to be a hard question for people to answer, so I'll just answer it for you. You have to be able to see context. Context comes from two components. If you want to simplify this the most and extract the most value from the least information, which is what your goal should be, then you want to look at trend, which can be on many time frames, and support and resistance levels. Those two components are all you need to make adequate decisions when it comes to managing risk and identifying high probability opportunities. I'm going to say it again. Trend and support and resistance levels. You can add candlesticks to that, but when you use a system like the TradeScanner Pro, you don't need to know the candlesticks, although it helps. Candlesticks are a great confirmation tool, right? But you don't need to know them. So you want to narrow it to just two: trend and support and resistance levels. Know those two components well, and you will have context. Context does not take 10 years to learn. Context you could learn in a few months. It's possible because you're focused on such minor, like such a small amount of information, but it's very effective information. A very common mistake beginners make all the time is they think more is better. Less is more. More is not better in this game because most of the information we consume in this game is worthless to begin with. Why would you want more worthless information? So you want to find the information that carries value, and you only want to focus on that, okay? Trend, support, and resistance levels. So Bitcoin trend is very easy to identify. It's been this way for quite some time. The trend is bullish. There's nothing bearish about this. Even all of this consolidating activity up here, there's nothing bearish about this on this time frame. On smaller time frames, yes, but not on this time frame. The daily time frame carries a lot of weight. So if you want to identify trend, the daily time frame is a good place to start, okay, before you start getting mixed up with smaller time frames. So based on this, trend is bullish, and this consolidation is a higher low in a broader bullish trend. So if that's the case, then I want to know about support levels in particular, because they're going to have a higher probability of showing a positive outcome, or at least a higher probability of being able to hold rather than break in a bullish trend. And if you look at this, 60K only broke one time and it recovered quickly. Okay, it broke only this one time. And I think that was on that CZ news, that nonsense CZ going to jail news, right? And Bitcoin overreacted or whatever. And that was it. That was the only break of support going all the way back to, what is that, March, beginning of March? So you want to know the support levels. They're highlighted on my chart here, and 60K is the key one. All right, so that's context. Now, as you can see, we bounced off of this, and I would not be going nuts with the 100K calls and all that other nonsense. The Trade Scanner Pro, I said, is basically estimating that 72K is the take profit, but I would not put a lot of weight on that. Okay, why not? Because there's so much resistance and so much that can go wrong in between now and by the time it gets up there. If it can get up there, you're better off taking money while you can. So you want to look at resistance levels. 64K is one. Now in this situation, this is a higher low. Okay, so 64K is likely to be broken, and 66K is going to be more of a possibility. Right, that's around 66K right there. All right, so those are good places to gauge profit potential. So if you're risking 1,500 points, but you're making 3,000 or 4,000, you're doing okay, right? And that there's a decent probability that it can get back to this midpoint area of the range. That's called mean reversion. So it's likely to get back there. That's a very good place to take money off the table. But if you let greed enter the picture because you can't help yourself and you're going to be a billionaire by tomorrow, like all the beginners like to think, then you're sitting there, this thing's going to go all the way up here and I'm going to hold it. Place an order for my Ferrari because I'm going to be rich in a few days. Right? Please don't be like one of those guys. Please, these TikTok people, please don't do that for your own good. Okay, anyway. So, 64 to 66K would be a good place to take something off the table. If you want to be more aggressive and give it more of a chance, and after you've taken some profit, 68K is your next area, if it can get up there, okay? That's the way to play something like this. When you reach a resistance level, you take something off, maybe 10% of your position, maybe 20%. It's going to depend on you and how aggressive you want to be. But it's always a good idea to take something off the table, especially if you're at like 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 reward risk. You want to take something off the table. It's a good habit to be in. Hey, Steen, you made it. All right, cool. Steen was running a little behind, but there he is. Hey, Milad, how are you? All right, good to see everyone. Okay, so anyway, all right, Steen. So I just pretty much covered my Bitcoin analysis. Any questions on this, anyone? Any questions? I mean, this is pretty straightforward. All right, but again, context. And if you find yourself like having a hard time, like things don't make sense, it's because you're doing things the same way as everyone else. That's the herd mentality. You may not realize it. And as a beginner, pretty much you are doing like everything like everyone else and you don't realize it. We all go through this as beginners. You must get yourself out of that mindset. You must get yourself out of the herd mentality mindset. When Bitcoin is going lower, you should be thinking, ooh, possible opportunities to buy. It doesn't mean you buy. It means possible time to be looking. Where are my support levels? Has the trend changed on the bigger picture? Is this a buying opportunity? Possibly. Okay. And when it's pushing highs and it's pushing resistance levels, you should be like, oh, risk is increasing. I should either get out of something or I should certainly not be in a hurry to get into this thing. How many people a couple of months ago, back in this area here, right? In these areas here, how many people were saying to me, I can't take the fear of missing out. I feel like I'm missing more now and I'm going to miss out. Right. And that fear is greatest like right there. And that's when, okay, I'm buying this thing. It's going to go to 80K. And now you get stuck in it. Okay. Investors, by the way, they're in the market all the time. They take the greatest amount of risk. When you compare an average investor to an average trader, I don't think that statistic where they say investors outperform traders, I don't think it holds. Because if you're an average investor and you buy at the worst prices, you get wiped out most of the time, especially if you're using leverage. A trader doesn't take that same amount of risk. problem with the traders, the average trader, is they take too many trades because they don't know how to filter out high probability trades. But as a trader working on smaller time frames, your risk, if you know how to manage it properly, your risk is tightly controlled so that you're not exposed to these kind of movements, these big movements that can wipe you out, especially if you're using leverage. Okay. All right. So I don't see any questions. Let's move on to TradeScanner Pro because we need to talk about that. All right. So that's my Bitcoin analysis. You can read a similar thing on TradingView. It's also on Twitter. If you haven't subscribed to my Twitter feed, subscribe to it. Okay. I don't have the link. The link is on my YouTube channel, I think. All right. It's Twitter. Just go look for Mark P Markets and subscribe there. I'll be sharing more stuff there soon as well. All right. Anyway. Okay. So far, so good with Bitcoin. Let's now switch gears and let's go to TradeScanner Pro. Okay. So hold on. Let me move this. So I have the two charts up. I have TradeScanner Pro, right? I have the perpetual futures, the Bitcoin perpetual futures over here. We're going to change this to, what is that? 15-minute chart. All right, so we're going to put it on a 4-hour chart first. Okay, and we're going to talk about this here in a moment. Now, I'm going to turn the TradeScanner Pro back on this chart, and I'm going to change this. Actually, we'll change this back in a moment. But the case in point, while we have this look here, look at this. This here is the 60K support, right? The area. This is the same move right here. Okay, you see that? So I'm sorry, the fifth, that's when it broke 60K and went back above. All right. Now, if I go to smaller time frames, this is a 4-hour. Let's go to a 1-hour. Now let me point something out here with the TradeScanner Pro before I show you how it works. Actually, back to the 4-hour. Let me show you something. If you notice on this thing up here, you have to pay attention to this. If you're using TradeScanner Pro or you plan to use it, you have to pay attention to the trend on the time frame. Each time frame has its own trend, right? It says it right there. Trend is bearish. But when price pulls back into a major level, like here, right, like this 60K level, like we've identified, the trend is bearish. So it's not going to give you longs. It's looking for shorts. So how do you get to a long if it's looking for shorts? You have to know to switch to counter trend mode. In fact, let me turn all these things on here. Right, these are the settings. I'll talk about these settings here in a moment. But that's counter trend mode. What a surprise! A long at 56K, whatever. You see that little historical long right there? What a surprise! I can't believe people try this thing out and then cancel it. Like I don't know what's wrong with you. When this tool is going to help you more than any other tool. When I see those cancellations, it's like, man, must be a beginner. They just don't get it. They just don't get it because the value of this thing is immeasurable. Nothing is going to call along like this over here, like this at that bottom. But if you put it in, if you knew that the general area, 60K area or below, you're looking for longs, you go to counter trend mode, even though this time frame is bearish. You go to counter trend. Does that make sense? Because you're looking for longs. Amazing, right? In fact, let's play that back, shall we? Now, not every trade works. Like this one failed over here. But let's play this back real quick. This is a 4-hour time frame. Now, you're not going to sit here in front of your computer screen and wait on a 4-hour chart. Trades take forever to show up on here, okay? But you set notifications on TradingView. You go here like this, okay? Where is it? Where's the notification? Here. How come I don't see the notification thing on here? Text note. It usually says notifications. All right, there's a notification thing. It's usually like over here somewhere. Why is it not on this? All right, anyway, you would set that, okay? It's available. Now, look, oh, I know why. It's probably because I'm in replay mode here. That's probably why. Now, look at this. So the trade shows up here. Remember, these are 4-hour candles. Okay. Oh, you put that in the community chat. Oh, cool, Alex. Right. these are 4-hour candles. So you're not going to wait in front of your computer screen for them. But when it shows up and you know your context, look at this. It was all planned in advance for you. Your entry was here. It wasn't exactly perfect. It pulled back a slight bit there, but it hasn't gone to the stop. And your take profit is here. It's all laid out for you. How do you not see the value? Most of you do, but there are people, I just don't get it. Like, it baffles me. Anyway, so look at this. This is how the trade played out. Look, the trailing stop. Your risk is reduced. Even if this trade failed, if this trade, just completely failed, your risk is now reduced almost in half. What tool is going to do this for you? I think people want the magic formula. They want the magic system that's 99% win rate. You're never going to find it. If you can't make money with this system, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, you just quit this game. Do yourself a favor and just quit now. All right, look at this. Went right to the take profit pretty quickly. See that, Steen? That was a good example of the take profit getting taken out. All right, and the trade was closed. Now, normally what will happen is when trailing stop mode is on, and Steen is going to fix this, this thing would continue, and the trailing stop would follow it, okay, as this thing continues. All right, and this thing was worth a little bit more. Look. Right? So the trailing stop would be working its way up here, and you can carry some. Okay. Eventually it would get tapped out on something like that. So that's a perfect example of how context would help you wait for a trade here and take this trade right here with confidence compared to something like this. Now, what level was this over here? 62,370. That was this level over here. Okay. That's not 60K. That's kind of close to 60K, but it's not 60K. This was 57 whatever, right? Or 56.4. What is the lowest point here? It called it on this candle, on this green candle. This green candle closed at 58,307. This candle right here, right? That was the entry, 58,307. That's close to 60K. It's aggressive. It's a little aggressive. You may say, well, 60K may be a resistance now. It's possible that that could have happened, but here's the thing, like I said before, that level, 60K, was only broken one time. And this was a swift recovery. So this thing could have helped you at least participate in that swift recovery if you were on counter trend mode. Okay. I think it is fixed in my version, but I have to test it further. Okay, cool. So that is a very good example of how to use context, right? And counter trend mode. Get used to using counter trend mode. This is a little more advanced, yes, because you need to understand context. I think what's happening with people is they don't understand how this tool works. And again, they just want the magic tool that just does everything for them. There is a little effort required here. Okay, so let me show you something here real quick. I'm going to turn this off. Okay. So yeah, okay. So it was Steen. It was because I was in replay mode. This is when you want to set notifications. Here it is right here. You see that setting on my chart? It's right there. You click on that. It brings this menu up, right? You tell TradingView, you pick this Trade Scanner Pro, and then you tell TradingView how you want to receive the notification. So this is perfect if you have like your phone. You get a push notification on the TradingView app, which you should have on your phone. It could be the free version. It could be the paid version. The free version has some limitations, okay? You can't set lots of notifications. You can only set like one, but it's a good place to start. If you want less limitations, consider a paid version of TradingView and use the link in the description. It helps out Steen also. But TradingView is a great platform either way. All right, so this is how you set the notifications. So you don't wait in front of your 4-hour chart. All right, now let me share something with you real quick. Many of you that have been following me for a while, you know how this works. But for those of you that may be new, I want to point something out. Okay, so how does Trade Scanner Pro work? It's very simple. It's a trend following momentum reversal system. What that means is, first, it identifies a trend. Second, it looks for a pullback in that trend. Okay, it measures the pullback on that trend. Then it waits for momentum exhaustion. It measures the rate of the momentum in this area right here. And once the momentum changes and turns and does this, it waits for a confirmation. And then at this point right here is when it calls a signal. That's the order suggestions that you see on the chart. Okay. And the signal looks like this. It places a stop. It gives you an entry. Okay, the entry is over here. All right, and then it gives you a take profit, usually at a 1.5 to 1 reward risk ratio. You can see that number right here, 1.5, which you can change. So that's basically how the trade scanner works in its trend following form. If you switch to counter trend, it looks for this, which goes against the trend. It ignores the trend and it looks for the counter trend move, which is mean reversion. This works really well with context, like that long off of 60K. Works really well. All right. So if you're trialing this thing and you're like a total beginner and you don't understand that, you're not going to get much out of this. All right. You're not going to be able to appreciate what this thing can do for you. So if that's you, don't even try it because you're just wasting your time. All right. I see that people who have a little more experience tend to have a better result with this thing. So if you're a total beginner, before you try this out, you need to learn trend and you need to learn support and resistance levels. Go and learn that stuff. I have a training program, but I'm not really pushing that right now because I want to update it. But that is what you need to learn. And then you can apply this with other systems. If you have another way of identifying support and resistance, okay, great. This will work as a confirmation in conjunction with other systems. Okay. Ramon, hey, how are you? Are notifications specific to a trend or time frame? No, so that's a good question. The notifications for the Trade Scanner Pro, the notifications are it's only looking for this. That's what it's going to notify you for. So whatever time frame you're on, like I'm on the 4-hour, right now. So if I set a notification here, it's going to be based on the 4-hour chart, right? I set this here and I tell it what I want, how I want to be notified. It's looking for signals on the 4-hour chart, okay? So if I want to do it on a 5-minute chart, it's going to be a 5-minute chart. So you have to know your time frame. You have to pick your time frame, and so for larger time frames like 15-minute, 30-minute, hourly, 4-hour, daily, you're going to want to use notifications. You're not going to want to sit in front of a computer waiting, okay? But if you're like on a minute, 1-minute chart or less, a lower time frame, then obviously you're going to sit in front of a computer. That's how I day trade the NASDAQ. And I've been using this system exclusively since Steen put it together. And let me tell you, it has helped me immensely. And I use this system. This is my system, and I would apply it manually. But let me tell you, manually, I would still make mistakes. Like there would be like possible trade setup, and I would be like, it looks good enough. And I would take the trade and it would just completely be wrong. Here, it's either there or it's not there. Okay. Plus I would have to figure out my stop and my take profit. I don't have to do that. It's there now. It's just automatically done for me. That saves me so much time that I can actually look at other markets, or I could do something else. Like the tool is invaluable. And soon I'll show you the results from that. But anyway, so that's what you're setting for. Now, let me explain some of the settings real quick here so you know what you're getting into. This is the settings tab, right? You get to the settings tab by simply clicking on this little circle up here. See where my arrow is? You click on this little circle, right, on the tool itself, and you have this show previous trade ideas, which that puts the old trades on the chart, like this one here. It shows previous trades, okay? Then you have the heads up. The heads up are these orange candles. Orange candles let you know that a signal may be coming soon. It doesn't guarantee that the signal's coming, but it might be coming, right? That's the heads up. Let me tell you, I've taken trades on that heads up. Sometimes it's a little aggressive and they don't work out very well, but I take sometimes it gets me in early and I'm able to add on these, after I get the signal. That works really well, especially on the side of the trend, okay? So there's that, right? Now, there's other settings too, like the trailing stop. The trailing stop, obviously, the trailing stop is self-explanatory. It puts that orange line that follows the price. And soon it'll work properly where once price breaks the take profit price, the trailing stop will continue to follow it until the trailing stop is touched. That allows you to ride winners. That right there is the whole value of the system. That right there embraces the random nature of the market. This is what beginners just don't get. They want, oh, what's the win rate? I want to know the win rate. Oh, it's not 99%? Forget it. I'm not interested. I only want 99% win rate. That's it. That's only what I want. I have high standards. Keep looking, right? You're never going to find it. The guys that tell you that they have not, they're lying to you. I hope you realize that, okay? I hope you realize that. Anyway, so the whole way to beat a random system is to win more when you win than when you lose. What is the random system? The market. It's mostly random, especially on smaller time frames. This system embraces that concept, right? Whereas these other guys with their trend following blah, 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 they're usually just glorified moving average crossover systems, which work when the market trends, right? But as soon as the market consolidates, you give all the money back anyway. What is the point? So you want risk to be constantly reduced while being able to ride a winner longer. That is the purpose of this system. That is what it looks to accomplish, not a 99% win rate. Get that idea out of your mind because you will find it nowhere. All right. I don't mean to be yelling, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Anyway, and then there's counter trend mode, which I just explained to you. Okay. Counter trend mode ignores the trend on your time frame and shows you signals like, look, there's a counter trend signal here. This was what another long on Bitcoin. See this? It was called here. Look at this. Almost stopped out. Obviously, it never touched exactly. The trailing stop is now in play, and this thing is working, right? Again, this is a 4-hour time frame. So we're not going to watch on a 4-hour time frame. Now I want to see if I could find some trades. Okay, cool. All right, no problem. I should ask 10%. Yeah, right, Steen. 10%. Don't worry, you're going to get more than that. All right, so let's go now to a smaller time frame. So when you start out with something like this, if you're Ramon, and I hope you sign up for the free trial. Okay, sign up for it. You can cancel anytime. By the way, if you go to the link in the description, it's the first link. It takes you here to this page. See this? That's where the link takes you. This is the TradeScanner Pro sign up page. All right. And it explains how it works. It explains the features. It talks about me. And then it takes you to this right here, right? So you could sign up for 14 days for free. And then this is the price. If you want to pay yearly, this is what it comes to, $22.50 a month, which is an introductory price. I'm going to raise these prices because this tool is way more valuable than this. And for people that can't see it, like I said, I don't know what to tell you. And then the monthly price is $30 a month. You just click the switch up there, and then it will take you to the monthly one. You click this button here, and it takes you to the sign-up form, okay? The subscribe now button. And then once you're at the sign-up form, you just have to make sure you put in your TradingView username right here. You have to make sure you put that in there. If you don't, we can't send you an invite, okay? So you have to make sure you do that. All right, anyway, so enough of that. Here, let's go back here, and let me just put this trade. I'll just leave this here for now. Let's go back to our chart, all right? Now, this is the perpetual futures chart. Now, what I want to do is, as a beginner, there's two things that I strongly recommend. Number one, paper trade. Do not trade this with real money. Paper trade at least a week. You have to get a feel for the system, and you have to be able to apply some context. It doesn't take a long time to learn context. You can learn it in a short period of time, especially relative to how long it takes to learn how to put a system like this together, which the components of this system took me 15 years to learn, just so you know, and to be able to put together and put together in a way that's effective. So you can learn context in a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, right? That's something you'll get better at, right? But basic context, trend, support, and resistance levels, work on larger time frames. Right there. Start with that, and you're on the right path, okay? Second, with this system, start with a 15-minute time frame. Don't go on the smaller time frames if you're a beginner. Smaller time frames require more experience. They're very noisy. You're going to have a lot of losing trades. And if you don't like lots of losing trades, don't trade a 1-minute chart. Don't trade a 5-minute chart. Start with the 15-minute chart. Steen also suggests that. Okay, this is the 15-minute chart. For something like this, you're going to have to use your notifications because I don't think you want to sit and wait. Like if we have to sit here and wait, like the trend is bullish right now on this thing. I mean, so for us to get a bullish trade, this thing needs to pull back. We're nowhere near a pullback. Okay, so it's going to take hours for this thing to give me a signal. right? You say, well, what's this over here? Well, we're in counter trend mode right now. So as you can see, it's only looking for shorts while the trend is bullish. It called a long over here because at that point, the trend was probably bearish. In fact, if I go back, we can see what the trend was at this time. So let's see. Oh, there was a signal there. Let's go forward with this a bit. See, look, the trend turned bearish. See that? Trend is bearish. So this was a short at the time. Okay. And oh, look, Steen, here's a perfect example. The trailing stop is now doing its job. It's following. See that? This is what the trailing stop is supposed to do. Price is below the take profit, and this thing is trailing. This is a 15-minute chart. Realize each candle takes 15 minutes. So this is a few hours worth of watching this thing. Look at this thing. Okay, then the price comes back up a bit. So if you took some profit off the table, which you should have at the take profit, you're trying to ride this a bit. And a lot of times it'll tap that trailing stop. But look, in this case, the trailing stop stopped, right? It's waiting for price to either continue or not. Look, oh, almost touched. Look at that. Oh, it touched. See that? So you could see the potential. There are times when Bitcoin may have a run and just doesn't pull back at all like this, and you can capture like an 8-to-1 reward risk. I've seen it. It's rare, but I've seen it. Okay, just so you know. All right, now, so this trade that I was showing you here, right, that long, the trend at the time, where was that long? Let's go back. Was it over here? Let's go back to that. Yeah, it was here. Okay, so we had to switch back to counter trend mode to see that. Right, or switch it off, right? So what's the trend? Let me turn this off. And let's go back to this point over here. Right? Let's see what the trend was again at that time. So we had that one trade, right? That trade that was there, the counter trend trade. Now, does a trend ever turn bullish? Let's see. Okay, the trend is bullish there. Okay, the trend turned bullish. Where's our signal? See, that's interesting. See that, Steen? Now, if I turn this back on, the signal's there. It's weird, right? Oh, I know why. I think it's because this trade was open. This trade was still open. That's why we see it after the fact. So this trade would have had to have been closed. Okay, that's interesting. But you get the idea, okay? Man, this would have been a nice runner. Look at that. Anyway, that's the 15-minute chart. And this is what I suggest you work with first, okay, as you're testing this thing out. Now, how am I doing with time? Okay. All right, cool. So anyone else have any questions about this? Hey, Pariah, considering the 15-minute internet delay in my country, the best risk-reward point is 1.2 in a while. Okay, so look, Pariah is sharing something interesting here. All right, he's a user. He's a user of the TradeScanner Pro. And this is what he's saying, because he has a delay situation because of where he's located. And this is what he's found to be effective for him. And he uses the 15-minute chart. All right, does that make sense? So thank you, Pariah, for sharing that with us. So we have a very helpful community here. All right, anyone else that's new here that has any questions, let me know. So again, let's now, what I want to demonstrate, because I'm showing you historical trades. Let's see if we could find something in real time. Now, when I do this real-time thing, let me turn this replay off. When I do the real-time thing, I have no choice but to show you on a smaller time frame. Otherwise, we'll sit here for hours waiting for signals, right? So I have to go to a smaller time frame to show you action. So we're going to go to a 1-minute chart. Now, keep in mind, something like on a 1 minute, or if I have to go lower than a 1 minute, a lot of these are going to stop out. I mean, look, this stopped out right here. Okay, and these trades aren't going to go very far either, especially this time of day. The market is about to close. Hey, Isaac, how are you? All right, no problem. So one thing I have to say about TradeScanner Pro, let me turn on the order book, is when there's no momentum, it stinks. All right, I was working with the NASDAQ earlier today, and I typically don't trade the open because the open can be very noisy and problematic. And a lot of times I make mistakes there, and then I spend the remainder of the session making money back. So I avoid the open, right? And today, after the open, right, the initial move on the NASDAQ was bearish, and then it just consolidated for like 2 hours. And I got away green, but it was like, I'm wasting my time here. So I wasn't going to push it, right? Because I know the trade scanner is not going to help me very much if there's no momentum. If the NASDAQ is going to be reluctant all day and not go anywhere at the time when I'm involved in it, I do not continue. Now, mind you, I'm working on 1-minute charts, 30-second charts, 15-second charts. I'm working on very small time frames, sometimes a 2-minute chart, okay? So our Bitcoin example here, I have the perpetual futures up, okay, with MEXC, and we're on the 1-minute time frame. Now, my mode right now, I'm in trend following mode. The trend is bullish. I always want to keep an eye on that, okay? And this tells me my counter trend mode is active, right? In case I forget, right? If I want to turn it on or off. So right now I'm going to keep it on because that's the only place I'm going to get a signal. For me to get a long signal, this thing needs to pull back first. And we're not pulling back really. Maybe if I check a 5-second chart, maybe I'll spot one here, but I'm not going to go to a 5-second chart. That's ridiculous. So you can change. Another thing I want to point out, oh, look, we got a signal. And what is that? It's a short. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to rush into this because I know the random nature. I know this environment that we're in. See what I mean? I'm not going to jump into this. Now, if the next candle or so gives me something more bearish, I'll consider this. All right, let's see how this closes. We have a whole minute. See, the trade vanished, all right, because the criteria is no longer met. Let's see what happens with that. Maybe it'll come back. But I'm not going to be quick to jump into these because of all of this noise. Now, what I want to point out is we don't have to work at a 1.5 to 1 reward risk. We can change that number, all right? You simply go back to your settings. If you notice over here, it goes away. Hold on. This right over here, see this? That's where the 1.5 is. I can change that to 2 to 1. But if I'm in a lousy environment, maybe I want to work at 1 to 1. There's the thing again. All right, I'm going to take it now. I'm going to short one. All right, let's see how this works. Now, again, this is not a great market to be working in. I took that trade this time because this gave me a pin bar, but this may go straight to the stop. And if it goes straight to the stop, I'm going to respect the stop. You must respect the stops in these things because if this thing does something stupid, you don't want to get caught. You're better off taking the loss right away, and I'm prepared to do that here. So let's see what happens. I'm also expecting that this thing may give me a number of stop outs before I catch the winner, right? That's very typical in this type of environment. So, like I was saying, you could change your reward risk ratio. This is 1.5, which means the take profit will always be 1.5 times what you risk. That's what that means. It will place the order at a 1.5 to 1 reward risk ratio. I can change this to 1 to 1. So I just change this to the number 1. And now it's going to move my order. Watch. Oh, it took the trade away. Why would it take the trade away? Oh, maybe it went to the stop. Let me put it back to 1.5. Shouldn't take the trade away. I guess it was. Oh no, look, that's weird. Oh, maybe because it changed the number there. It took the trade away. Well, if the trade had opened with the 1 to 1 reward risk, you would have seen this order would have been like over here. Okay. That's how that works. So as you can see right now, this trade isn't really doing much for me, but it's trying to give me some orange candle. It's trying. This is a 1 minute. Candles change very quickly on this time frame. Things change very quickly. And I am going against the trend, which is going to be lower probability. Please keep these things in mind. There's no magical system here that's going to just make me profit just because a signal shows up. Please understand that, right? And also, I'm not really using this in any context. I'm just taking it because a signal is there. You don't want to do that. You want to check the context. Let's go to an hourly chart real quick and see what kind of context we're dealing with. Am I dealing with a resistance level? Should I be thinking short up here? Okay, there's something here. There's some resistance up here. Okay, look, it's an old support. So it's not that unreasonable to be looking for shorts on such a small time frame at this level. It's not like I'm shorting the 60K support level, okay? So there is some reason, there's some logic behind this, but this particular trade may not work. All right, so let's see. If it goes to the stop, I'm blowing it out. And I only have one contract on, by the way. What I like to do is I like to add contracts if this thing goes my way, okay? Like, for example, it's trying to go my way right now, but it's not convincing yet, Okay, what I'd like to see is a sharp red candle. Okay, what I'd like to see is something like this. If I see something like that, that's going more my way. I'd be more interested in putting on another contract at that point. All right, so let's see how it goes. So again, we have a little warning candle, but I'm going to be conservative today. Normally I'm very aggressive and I just jump in, but I want to be conservative. Hey, Giovanni, how are you? From Mexico. Viva la Mexico. Viva la Mexica. ¿Qué tal estás? Oh, there we go. All right, I'm going to short another one. Maybe I should talk more about Mexico. All right, so ¿qué estás haciendo? It's my Spanish for today. Puedo decir palabras malas solamente. All right, let's see how this goes. All right, so this is what I want to see. Now, this is where, okay, cool. This is the kind of action I want to see. And there is some logic to being short up here. Now, here's the thing. I put on a second one, right? Because we got the support, we got the candle that's going my way. This thing could still stop me out. I don't even have the trailing stop here yet. The trailing stop should start showing up soon if this thing can continue my way. Again, I'm on a 1 minute chart. So this is not the most stable chart. All right, let's see what happens here. A lot of times what I will do is I will not wait for the take profit. What I like to do is I like to take something off early, like over here somewhere. And then what'll happen a lot of times, it'll retest the entry and I'll add back. That's advanced. I don't expect a beginner to be able to do that. But let me tell you, when you can do those techniques and you could basically make more out of a signal than what's there, it gives you an advantage over people that are clueless, which is most of the retail trader population. Okay. So, and I'm not trying to be all big and bad and whatever. I'm just saying, like, you make money off of people's mistakes. That's how you make money. And when markets are jumbling around and they go back up here, people don't know what to do. They're confused, but I have a point of reference and I'm willing to take the risk. That doesn't always work, but man, when it works, I'm in a bigger position. Okay. And I win larger than what I lose. If I lose, I was going to lose on one contract here. Now I'm winning on 2 contracts. That is how you make money. Not with a 99% win rate system. It's not the win rate that makes you money. Please write that on a piece of paper somewhere. People still ask me, what's the win rate? It's not the win rate that makes you money. It's the reward risk ratio. When you get that and the trade goes your way, you win more than what you lose. So, I hope to see some people signing up. But if you cancel after a couple of days, don't even talk to me because you haven't given the system a fair chance. I show profitable trades. Some trades lose, yes. Like I show those too, but you have to give the system a fair chance and you have to use it in context. Okay. There was some context here. So there was a little bit of a chance that this thing was going to do what it's doing right now. All right. So let's see. Should I take some money off the table? I'm going to try to let this thing ride a little bit more. I'm not going to wait for this. Okay. I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to wait for this. I think we could reach that. That's not too unreasonable. See how it's retesting the entry price? If I get something, now I'll tell you right now, if I get something like this where it pops up like it's doing and it does not touch these stop loss orders, it fails before it gets here, I'll try to add a third one. We'll see. See what it's doing? Not good. Pops up there, right? See, all right, got to get out. Got to get out. Don't mess around with this. Out. That was a winner. It turned right into a losing trade. But I'm respecting the stop loss orders. I'm not going to sit in this thing and watch this thing go, hundreds of points against me. Now, I may have an opportunity to get back in. Let's see. Okay. Again, this location is still relevant on the short side, so I'm willing to take another chance, but I'm not going to take a lot of risk. How much was that one? Let's see. I go to paper trade over here. How much was that? Let me go to my account history. So I lost like what, $200 there? Yeah, that's it. I lost $200 there, basically. All right. That's what's going to happen. These are big contracts. All right. So let's see what happens here. It's a good thing I had only 2 contracts and not 3. I was looking to put on 3. If we never stopped out, I'd be putting on a third one here, like on this. So we may get another signal here. Let's see. Let me go to a 30-second chart. Now, if you don't have the free, if you have the free version of TradingView, you won't be able to look at a 30-second chart. You need the full version, the most expensive version. That's the way it is. Okay, there's no signal there. Okay, let's go back to the 1 minute. Oh, look, it's back. Okay, I'm going to get back into this. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Now, in a situation like this where you get a solid green candle, is that the market close? Yeah, I shouldn't be surprised. That was the stock market close right there. Okay. Price action can be very erratic during this time. Now, volume is pretty low. Like I said, bad time to be involved in this thing. So that's why it's hard to show good trades during a bad time. But I'm going to try again. I shorted 1 on the signal. Let's see how this thing plays out. I'm not going to keep forcing this thing. If this thing doesn't want to cooperate, then I'll just we'll either call it a day or I'll see if we can get a long. The problem with longs here is we need a significant pullback. So how am I going to find longs? Like if I want to do trend trades, right? Turn counter trend off. There are no longs here. So what do? I can go to a smaller time frame. Let's check a 15-second chart. Any longs there? Oh, look, there was a long right here on the 15-second. All right, 15-second. Unless you have the most expensive version of TradingView, you're not going to be able to see that. That's why I don't like to show that, because it's not going to be possible for most people. If you have it, cool. Okay. But the 1 minute is a time frame that you will be able to see. So what I'll do here is if this thing struggles to sell off, like if this thing can't sell off, let me turn on my counter trend mode, then I will look for a trend trade. See if we can get, even if it's on a 15-second, at least I'm on the side of the general trend. Okay, so the trend trades, by the way, should carry a higher probability. That makes sense, right? All right, hey, UTXO. That was exactly 4 o'clock. Yeah, I shouldn't be surprised. Yeah, you get weird things like this at certain times. Okay, market closing, market opening, news items, or sometimes for whatever reason at 2:30, or like bond market close at 1:30, for example, you get something weird like that. This is complete nonsense, right? They got me out on complete nonsense, but it happens. I just shorted another one because this thing is trying to, continue here. I'm going to just stick with 2 for now. Let's see if I can make my money back. Okay. Like I said, I'm just playing the price action, and it's not a good time of day. Normally, I do not trade this time of day. That's why I stream. Okay. Now, okay, cool. Any questions so far? Do you guys like the trade scanner? And those of you that have it, you don't have to answer that question. Obviously, you like it. That's why you have it. But people who don't have it, what do you think? I'm curious. Because, I can see like when people sign up. By the way, if you do sign up for the free trial, we almost have the automation complete. Steen is just waiting for me to give him something. But once we have the automation, then all you have to do is wait like an hour and you'll get your invite. Or in some cases, you may have to wait a couple of hours, maybe like 3 or 4 hours. It depends on when you sign up, and you'll get your invite automatically. But right now, I have to send you the invite, which means I need a few hours. Okay. So if you sign up, please just allow me a few hours and I will have the invite to you. And I will send you a message once I send you the invite. All right. Any questions? Do I have anyone new to the stream here? I'm just curious. Anyone new to the stream besides the people that mentioned it earlier? Again, I can't express the value of this tool. Like if you can't see it, like I said, you're not going to find a tool that does these things for you and reduces your confusion the way this thing does and allows you to navigate these markets the way this thing does, because it's basically simplifying the decision-making process. Understand, the point of this tool is not to give you an accurate win rate. It's supposed to help you control your risk. That's really the purpose, right? Control your risk, constantly control your risk, and allow you to ride a winner when a winner appears. We don't know when a winner is going to appear. No one can forecast that, but you can gauge, for example, right? If I go back to that other chart, you can gauge in such a location like this over here that there's a high probability that you're going to catch a runner because it's a major level. That's called context. So you could say, oh, you know what? If I get a long off of 60K, I'm going to really try to hold on to this thing because there's a great potential there. This level, 60K, is a lot less random than like, 59,200 or 55,650, right? Those are random numbers, but 60K is a lot less random. And the vicinity around 60K, like 60K 250, maybe 59,850, like those are going to be higher probability locations if you get signals there because it's the 60K level. Does that make sense? But the script can't see that. You have to see that. And it's not hard to see. Just check my TradingView article every week and you'll see levels. You don't have to know where to put them on your chart. They're on my chart. These levels don't change very much on my charts, by the way. They rarely change. Okay. So anyway, back to this chart here. So Bitcoin's trying to make me look good here. All right. It's about time. But we still refuse to break this little point, right? It just refuses to break. Why does it have to give me such a hard time all the time? This is what I deal with NASDAQ all the time. The NASDAQ does this to me all the time. All right. So let's just give it a few more minutes. I'm not going to keep you here all day. I know I say that, but I just like to see this thing, so you can see for yourself. The trailing stop is now in play, as you can see. My risk is being reduced. So the script is doing its job. My risk is now reduced by this much. And if this thing goes straight up like this, does another one of those moves and stops me out, it sucks. Yes, it sucks. But the thing is, I'm losing less. Okay. And that's what you have to realize. Someone recently came to me and said, oh, I tested this thing out for like 5 trades and every single trade was a losing trade. And I'm like, 5 trades is hardly an adequate sample size. You need to do 100 trades. Okay. And to see what this thing can do. 5 trades, you can easily lose 5 trades in a row. Very easily. And especially in a lousy market, something like this. Look, this trade was a stop out, right? That was a short that clearly stopped out. This one may have been worth something. This one was a stop out. That's 2 stop outs right there. Okay, this one may be a stop out. So stop outs are going to happen. It's when you catch a winner and you were able to ride a winner. And if you don't have the patience to do that, then you're gonna have a hard time with any system. All right, so let's give this a few more minutes. Any other questions? Any questions? I hesitate to show this at this time because of the lousy time of day. Time of day is important, especially on these time frames. If you're working with a 15-minute, let's just take a quick look at the 15-minute. See, the 15-minute, you're dealing with something like this. This level looks great for a short, but it takes forever, right? Right now, I'm in counter trend mode. It says counter trend mode. The trend is bullish, though, on this time frame. So I'm going against the trend, but there is a level up here. There is something up here. But keep in mind, it's not precise, right? This thing can fool around in this entire area and still be a short, but it may stop me out a few times. That's context. And if this thing happens to be a short, if it works out, where is this thing going to go? Is it going to go all the way over here? Possibly, but I'm not going to bet on that. There's some clear support right here. So why would I expect more than this? It's possible, but I want a high probability of getting out green. So a higher probability of getting out green is going to be somewhere in this area, right? Somewhere in this area, not here. Does that make sense? You're going to want to get out before that. Now, look at this candle, how it's developing on the 15-minute. Like, that's good if it closes this way. That's bearish. But what if this thing closes strong green? How much time do we have? We have 5 minutes left in this candle. This candle could change a lot in 5 minutes. So just understand, that's when I look at this larger time frame, I'm looking at context. Does a short even make sense up here? Yes, it does. Okay, so at least I have that right. But there's a lot of room for it to play around. And that room can stop me out. Okay. And it can look ugly. It can stop out a number of times before I catch the one that actually sells off. Right? It could be some dumb news that comes out at 5:30 that the sell-off occurs, right? Some unexpected news, I don't know, CZ goes back to jail or gets out of jail on good behavior, some stupid thing like that, and then this thing has a dramatic move because people overreact. We don't have to sit there and pay attention to the news. We just want to pay attention to the price action and the levels. The levels give us the probability, and then we have to decide how much risk we want to take. All right. Cool. So let's see how this goes. Any questions? Has anyone signed up as I've been talking? If you've signed up for the free trial, again, let me show you where it is. You go here, right? You go to the link. Actually, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to type it into the channel. I know, Steve, I have to give you permission. I haven't had a chance. I've been so busy with stuff. I'm sorry. This is the link. TSCPRO. If you go to this link right here, I just put it in the chat. And let me just stick it over here. If you go to that link right there, it takes you to this page. Okay. The link is also in the description. And this is what it is for the yearly version, the yearly subscription. And you can change that to monthly. It's only $30 a month. These prices are going to change soon. And there are other features as well. We're still hooking some of these other things up. The main thing, of course, is the script, right? That's what you want. Right. So you just click on the subscribe now. Make sure you give me the TradingView name, your username in the sign up form, and then I'll be able to put you into the system. Okay. Just allow me a few hours, please. Once we have the automated invites set up, you'll get your invite within an hour, or maybe a couple of hours. It depends on when you sign up, but most of the time it'll be an hour, about an hour. Okay. I don't see any questions. Anyone watching besides Ramon and Isaac and Giovanni and UTXO and Stian? Anyone else? I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, I got 5 people in here. That everyone else is a bot. I'm very popular in the bot community. Bots love me for some reason. I don't know why. Because they all come here and watch me on YouTube. Everyone's a bot. Everyone's very antisocial. Don't be shy. Say hello. I'm not gonna yell at you. Not gonna make fun of you. All right. Can Bitcoin just make me look a little bit better and just go over here to the support? You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the break of this support. Hey, who do you have here? Vanja. All right. You're a bot. Hey, Vanja the bot. Nice to meet you. Okay, cool. I'm glad you're able to admit you're a bot. I told you we have bots out there. Watch. Vanja, I hope you sign up for the free trial here. 14 days free. You can cancel anytime. I can't express the value of this system more than I have today. If you can't recognize it, I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Vanja. Yeah, you should make that flag, UTXO. You should make that flag. You'll become a billionaire. You can start up another one of those and you will make a lot of money. You could buy yourself a nice home and all that stuff. You should totally do that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look into it. Go to this page right here. Here's how far you have to look. Right? Look at this and then press this button and then fill out the form and that's it. Okay, I'll send you the invite. Just give me a couple of hours and you get this system on your chart. And if you've been watching this video the whole time, cool. If not, go back and watch it because I explain a lot of things that you should know as starting out with this. Like, start with the 15-minute time frame. I'm showing this on a 1 minute so we can see action. You should not start with a 1 minute chart. You should start with a 15-minute chart if you want to work on smaller time frames. You can work on a daily chart also, but keep in mind signals will take a long time to appear, right? You're talking days at that point. So anyway, all right, this thing just stinks. We're not breaking the support level. We just refuse to break. All right. So in situations like that, it's like, all right, I can't be streaming here the entire day. I'll give it another minute or so, but I suspect that if we break this level right here, then we'll see some momentum that'll take us at least over to this spot over here, around here, based on this here, something like around here, it'll take us to, if we can break that support. Clearly, this price action tells me someone is buying here, at least for the moment. There's some buying here. All right. Maybe they're covering a short from back here, right? Because you have an old resistance, new support type of situation. Possibly there's some short covering there. I don't know. I don't know the nature of the buying, but there's clearly someone feels like they want to hold up this market. Okay. Also, there's no momentum. There's no catalyst for this thing to move. There's nothing to get people to sell to motivate them, right? Usually news does that or some other piece of information, and this thing gets hammered, right? But that's not what is happening here. And this system that I'm showing you requires momentum. If there's no momentum, this is what you're going to sit through, and it stinks. Am I up any money? No, I'm still losing money. Okay, so this thing just does not want to work because there's no momentum. Know your time of day, especially if you're a day trader. I expect people, if you're going to work on smaller time frames, have some experience or avoid these 1 minute charts. You're going to go nuts. Okay. Time of day is so important, even for Bitcoin. To avoid this time of day situation, you work with 15-minute, 30-minute, hourly, and use your notifications. Use this. Okay. Use this. So you don't sit in front of your screen. Learn how to use this. It's not hard to use. It's very self-explanatory. All right. Otherwise, you sit here like this, and we're basically just like wasting time. Right. The market just doesn't want to go, and it's consolidating. Based on this price structure, it's likely to make the higher high because this is bullish. Okay. And look, it's going to my trailing stop. I'm going to have to get out of this thing again. All right. Once it pops it out, let's see if it pops it out. If it closes the trade, I get out. I'm going to have to. I'm going to close it, yes or no? It's up to the market. It's teasing me. It'll probably close the trade. Go ahead. What's it going to be? Yes or no? Still waiting. I got my finger on the button. Very hesitant. Okay. I'm going to give it a chance. The next candle may do it. But this is what I mean, right? So I'm not going to like sit around here and watch this thing go to the stop. If it's at the trailing stop, it shouldn't be here. If momentum is going to go my way, it shouldn't be here. Okay? My risk has been reduced. So that's one positive. My risk is reduced. I'm not taking the full risk that I originally set out to take. Okay? One thing too is like, since my trend is bullish and I'm fighting this trend, there may be long signals here, but I have to go to like a ridiculously small time frame. Let's check real quick. Let's just see if there's anything. I'm going to turn counter trend off. Okay. Now I'm back in trend mode. Let's go to a 30-second chart. Let's see. Are there signals there? Let's go to a 15-second. Oh, that's a 5-second. No, I want the 15-second. Oh, there's a signal there. See that? There's another 15-second signal. See? So I'm better off going for these 15-second signals because that's the side of the trend. The thing is, to catch these 15-second signals, you have to be able to get these smaller time frames. Like I said, they're not available unless you're on the full version. All right, this is back on the 1 minute, and I'm going to put counter trend back on. So understand that there's two things going on here at the same time. There's a bearish trade on the 1 minute, and there's bullish trades on the 15-second chart. So yes, it's complex, it's confusing. That's why I tell you, don't get mixed up with that. All right. When you're more advanced, you'll be able to sort that out. But in the beginning, don't do it. It'll confuse you. The whole point of this is to reduce confusion, not to be more confused. All right. I'm waiting for this thing to tap out so I can get out. And I'm just going to get out. All right. So I'm looking at like another $100. That's about $50 a contract that I'm losing here. What am I going to do? I can't force the market to pay me. It was green over here, but I was looking for a little bit more. The market sucks, man. When you can't even get just like a little bit more. Maybe now. Let's see what it gives me now. Maybe. So one good thing is the trailing stop so far kept me in. I told you I'm waiting for the trailing stop. If I had no trailing stop here, chances are I would have blown it out. So in these situations, it keeps you in the trade while my risk is reduced. Now, if I was aggressive, I'd add another one here, but I'm not going to do that now. Okay, 2 is enough, but this would be an opportunity to add right here on the close of this candle because it failed to tap out the trailing stop. And if I do add one here, okay, and it goes to the trailing stop, I lose a lot less on that one. I'm not going to stop out up here. There we go. All right. I'm green now. Okay, so I'm going to cover, let's see how the candle closes. We may break the support now. And the reason why I suspect that is because when you have this bullish action and these longs get sucked in, who do you think has to bang it out? They're going to bang it right through that support. Let's see. That's a nice solid candle. Let's see how that goes. Again, it's a 1 minute, but still, let's see. Again, if you're just tuning in, check out the Trade Scanner Pro. You're not going to get a better tool than this. And I'm not just saying this because it's mine. There's nothing that's going to reduce your confusion and help you get on the right path than something like this. It's not about the win rate. It's about managing risk. Like I was able to do here. Look, I almost got tapped out, but it kept me in. Cool. My trade went from negative back to green. And this time, I'm going to do something about it. I'm not going to sit here and watch it go red again. This next candle should be the break candle. It should break this support. If it's not going to break, I'm getting out. I'll just give it a little bit more of a chance to see if that momentum follows through. Again, this requires momentum. And this is the start. Momentum usually starts like this, but it has to continue. If I get a green candle here again, there we go. That's the break. Let's see if it continues. Breaking the support. Okay, I went from minus 100. I'm up like 80 right now. Okay, let's see if it can do a little bit better. If the momentum starts to pick up. Okay. A little more. Now, this is not greed talking. Greed would be, oh, wait for it to go over here. It might go there, but I'm not going to wait that long. Okay, here, I'm getting out of 1. Where am I up? Okay, 116. All right, I'm getting out of 1. Goodbye. Covered 1. That was part of my plan. I covered it early. Waiting, I'm not going to wait for this. Now I'll give the other one a chance. Now I have the trailing stop with me. I locked in 1 for a profit. Okay, cool. This is the beauty of this system. I'm glad you're able to see this now in action, right? The trailing stop now starts to follow and it keeps me in the trade. If I want to be aggressive and hold on, I can let it go to the trailing, like the trailing stop can get me out now. This may go straight back up to the trailing stop and tap me out. But if momentum follows through, now I have a point of reference to keep me in the trade. And when it breaks, if it breaks this, I have something to keep me in if this thing decides to really get hammered. Okay? Whereas you may get out too early. See, I'm glad I got out of 1. This is the wrong candle, but I got out of 1. I locked in some profit. So let's see how it goes. You follow me so far? So this tool helps you manage the trade. That's really a key feature of this thing that you're not going to get just by watching whatever. It helps you manage the trade. So I hope you try it out. Give it a chance. Don't try it out for like 2 days and be like, oh, this sucks. I haven't made any money. And then you cancel it. Then you're just wasting everyone's time. Give it a chance. Seriously, try it out. And apply some of the concepts I showed you here today, the support and resistance levels. That's where this thing shines. And pay attention to your time of day. Okay? Bitcoin has unusual times because it trades every day. Like Asian session, for example, you may see some action between 8 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes when I'll mess around with it at night, and you see some decent action at that time, which is unusual. The stock market's closed at that time. But there's action here. So you have to know your market. That helps. All right. This candle stinks. I'm probably going to just blow out of this thing completely. Right. So I gave back a significant portion of the profit. That's going to happen. Now, just for educational purposes, if this thing were to go back here, right, and then give me another sell candle or a red candle, that's where I would add back. Okay, so a lot of times it'll like pop up like it's doing. It'll retest the entry price and then sell off again. And I've put one back on. I'm not going to do it now, but I've done this a lot. I add one back, it sells off again, I cover it. And I still have my original one on. And maybe it breaks a little lower, maybe it goes to the take profit. But the thing is, I've reduced my risk by getting out of one, and then I put the risk back on at a better price. Okay, so see, like something like this, if this candle gets completely eaten up and turns red, that's another place to add. But again, that's something that comes over time. You're not going to learn that if you're a beginner and you're doing your free trial. You're not going to know how to do that. That takes time. That takes a little time to learn. And that's why I demonstrate this during these streams. And I'll be doing more educational stuff. I just need to get this going. And then I'll be doing more educational stuff so you can learn how to use the tool. But you got to give it a chance. And also watch my previous streams. All of my streams have gone over stuff like this with the TradeScanner Pro. Watch all of them, even the ones where I have the losing trades. Watch all of them. Okay? Okay. All right. So, all right. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this out now because I'm not going to wait anymore. You know, let's see how this thing. Let's go to the paper trade. Right. So the first trade I locked in 64, the second trade 15. All right, so I wasn't able to make back the full amount there, but if we had more time, see, look, this is a nice close right there. If we had more time, I can really play with this thing and show you. Like I would love to short more here now, and then if this thing gets hammered, I'm making my money back, right? And the trailing stop is still active. Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. Again, check the links in the description. I have the link over here. You could see on the screen. I'll leave that there. Okay, so you could see that. And just go to this page here, sign up. That's the link on the screen. Sign up for your 14-day free trial. Give it a chance. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. If I send you a message first, it's probably not me. It's a scammer. But if you send me a message first, I'm happy to answer your questions. You can message me on TradingView. You could message me on Discord. You could send me an email. See, look, that traded. See that? That ad would have worked out nicely. And I'll be happy to answer questions. Please give it a chance and let me know what you think. All right. Other than that, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thanks for watching.